We're talking about the world exclusive Daily Mail interview with Kevin Federline, where he discusses Britney and her relationship with her boys. It's ugly, it's nasty, it's downright vile, and it's everything we expected from him. So let's get into it. What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Spearheaded with Tevin. I'm your host, Tevin. We've got a lot to jump into. We've got a lot to go over. I can't believe we actually have to talk about this, but KFed is back in the picture. I'm sure you guys have all seen or read the article that dropped with the Daily Mail on Saturday. And it's just such a doozy. I can't even believe that it's happening. It's just there's so much to unpack here. So let's get into it. So if you have been keeping track of what's going on, Kevin Federline sat down with the Daily Mail and basically did an entire exclusive about the boys not being happy with Britney because of her Instagram, and they haven't seen her for months. And, Kevin goes on to say in the interview, the conservatorship was to help Britney, and he feels bad for Jamie Spears, and Jamie's gotten a lot of flack, which he feels bad about. And eventually he talks about connecting the boys back to their grandfather, Jamie Spears, who, if you don't know, has a restraining order against him from Kevin and the boys, which does wear off soon. But nonetheless, why would you even put those kids back in the same environment with the man that is an abuser and tortured his daughter? I want to point out that this article is a classic takedown. It is nothing more than a classic takedown. Everything about it screams organized, antagonistic, trying to get under someone's skin. It is everything of the sort. I mean, from the reporter literally being in this photo album, loving up against this family as if she's like the grandmother. When I saw the photos, I was like, who is this woman? It's the reporter. I don't even know her name. I'm going to have to look up her name. But she doesn't get a direct mention in this podcast. But to see those photos of her having this time with the boys, and then to see the quotes that Kevin was giving, all of it is such a takedown against Britney. It's so blatantly obvious. I think half of it is to mitigate any bad potential press that Kevin's going to get from the book. We all know that Britney's been working on her memoir. It's slated to drop early next year. So they're starting early with this whole discrediting, right? He's coming out. He's talking about how unstable she is. The boys don't want to see her. Her dad's not really that bad of a guy, because we know that the book is going to be a bombshell. There's going to be things in it that, we don't even expect. So he did this interview to essentially discredit her, get in front of any bad press, and clear his name, which no one was even thinking about him anyway. So it's so bizarre to me that this is happening, especially right before Britney's rumored comeback single with Elton John. This was supposed to be a great month for her, and now it's definitely been stained with this article. So a big F you to Kevin Federline. But let's talk about the boys not seeing Britney, because I feel like that's a really big part of this entire story. It is the story. Let's be real. I've been, of course, on Twitter. It's where I live. It's my natural habitat. And I've been seeing a lot of fan discourse about, fuck them kids and F this and F that. And these boys have to know that their mom gave up everything for them. And I really want people to put themselves in the position of a 15 and a 16-year-old, right? Take off your Stan goggles, take off your Britney the pop star lens, and really put yourself in the position of a teenager. Everyone knows that from 13 to 18, those are the nightmare years. If you're a parent dealing with a teenager, if you're a teenager yourself, it's those are the 5 years that your parents are the lamest people on earth. You just want to be with your friends. You just want to hang out. School is stupid. And you want to do your own thing. You're finding yourself. You're finding out who you are. That's a very core part of your life. So to be 15 and 16 years old, you already think your parents are lame just because they exist. Add in a couple more elements to that for, Sean Preston and Jaden James. Sean Preston is 16, Jaden is 15. But really think about this for a second and kind of go with me on this. And you can disagree at first, but hear me out on this because I think it's an important perspective to have. So your parents are already not cool, right? Add on the other layer to your father and your stepmom don't like your mother. They're talking bad about her. They're saying things about her that are nasty. She's crazy. She needs help. She's not getting help, what have you. Okay. So you already have this like idea that your mom is kind of off the wall. Then you go to see her and you see that she's not acting like herself. And we know now it's because Britney was being drugged by her family, but you go and you spend time with her, she's not herself. So you already have that like confirmation that she's not all there and she doesn't want to be. She doesn't want to be helped. And then you add in the Instagram posts, right? And in the article, Kevin talks about Britney being nude, and that plays into this story that the boys don't want to see her. But your mom is on Instagram. She is feeling liberated. She's feeling free. And keep it with me here. We're still going from the mindset of a 15, 16-year-old. We're not looking at it from Britney's angle just yet. That's kind of got to be somewhat embarrassing. You're like, Mom, like, why are you showing your tits on Instagram? Right? Why are we doing this? And Sam, when he responded down the line, which we'll get into Sam's response, he said that like Britney has never been nude on Instagram and they do more for like soap and body lotion ads and stuff, which is really right. But like Britney's been nude on Instagram. We've seen the photos, like she has the heart emojis over, her nether regions and on her boobs, and good for her. Like I love that she's liberating herself. But from the perspective of a teenager who's your mother, you're like, oh, like put it away. Like, what are you doing? So you have that element. Okay. And to round out the full scope, you're going to school with a bunch of teenagers who know your mom because your mom is Britney Spears. But you're going to school with these kids who are probably saying shit to you about your mom going off on Instagram, looking a certain way, XYZ. So you're getting from all angles, from all cylinders, that your mom is kind of this unstable person who doesn't want to be helped, and she's naked on the internet and everyone's always talking about it, and you're literally getting it every single place you go. Okay? It's being reinforced. It's being brought back to you every single day. Of course, they're going to disassociate and be like, I don't want anything to do with that. I'm not going near it. I'm not going to touch it. I'm not going to engage with it, right? And that's what we're seeing playing out. So before we really start to go in on, the boys, and they're minors, by the way, they're still kids, right? They don't have any idea really. Like, keep that in mind, right? They're getting it from all angles. I'll also say this, I'm seeing a lot of people talk about they should be grateful for her and her going through hell for them and stuff. They're not thinking of it like that. I'll tell you right now, they're not thinking my mom, the pop star, was locked down for 13 years because she was dedicating everything to me. There is no thought in their brain that's giving that right now. And you've seen how the boys are raised. If you haven't seen, the Instagram live that Jaden did, I want to say in 2020 or maybe 2019, hearing how he was talking, even dropping like some gay slurs and, saying that's gay and all this kind of stuff. Like, you can obviously tell that these boys were raised in a household where like those PC terms and stuff are not being utilized. I think that as much as we want them to understand what their mom's given up, what she's been put through, what she's had to endure so that they could have a better life, they're not there yet. There's going to be a day where they get there, and there's going to be a day where they understand all that she had to go through and the extent of her abuse, but it's not being framed that way to them right now. And it's going to take for them to turn like 18 and get away from their immediate environment, get away from their dad, get away from their stepmom and all the negative forces to really kind of understand and take it all in. And I'm hoping, I know that they'll reconcile one day with Britney. She loves those boys. She's not going anywhere, right? But I do also think that Britney understands that this is the case. She said in her Instagram that, the comments were hurtful, but I do think that she has a very forgiving heart. And when it comes to her kids, she's very serious. And I think that it's going to be okay with the boys. But back to Kevin Federline, man. Like, I think it's so vile, and I think it's so just unbelievably destructive to go off into an interview like this. Britney and Kevin have always had this truce between them. They've never really talked about each other. They've never really gone into detail about what led to their divorce and into really any specifics. Britney's alluded to it in songs from Blackout. Of course, there were a bunch of speculations and things like that when they did get divorced, but nothing's ever really in depth been addressed. And I think that fans always kind of knew that was like, we didn't really knew where Kevin fit in the puzzle. All we knew was that he was like, for the most part, the kids were in his care and he was taking care of them. So good to know that he's still trash. Good to know that he is still the same old guy that we didn't like in 2004. And not much has changed. I do want to talk about how Kevin has directly benefited from this conservatorship. So Kevin's been getting child support from Britney. In California, it's known that usually when there's a divorce of any kind, the state will basically make the richer parent pay more in child support to the poorer parent to create a balance so that like they can't leverage their money. In 2018, Kevin went to court because he wanted more child support from Britney. He was getting reportedly $20,000 a month. He wanted it tripled. So he wanted to get $60,000 a month, $30,000 for each kid. They reached a settlement. There was never really a ruling on that. And I don't think the official number came out, but he's making anywhere from $40,000 to $60,000 a month in child support from Britney. He does have the kids, I guess now 100% of the time, but at the time it was like an 80-20 deal. And he's got 4 other kids. So he's got 2 kids, Corey and Caleb with actress Shar Jackson, which was before Britney. And then he's got 2 kids after, oh Lord, what are their names? It's like Taylor and something. I don't fucking know. But he's got 2 kids with his now wife, Victoria Prince. But he's getting like probably anywhere from $40,000 to $60,000 a month in child support. And he's supporting all of these kids with that money, which is like super illegal. You are not supposed to do that. But he's really like milking the cow on this. I just was on Twitter, and there are court documents that are starting to be leaked of even in 2009 during the circus tour when Britney was first put into the conservatorship. He was making $10,000 a week for being the kid's nanny. And then he would get a first class ticket if he wanted to go fly somewhere and party for the weekend. He was able to fly first class using money from Britney's estate, refused drug tests, didn't take any drug tests. And then if he ever spent money over $1,500 a week for the kids, he'd get reimbursed for that. Mind you, Britney, I think, was only getting $1,600 a week in allowance, and Kevin was getting 10 grand. Just to put it in perspective for you of how unfair that is, because that's her money, and she wasn't even getting access to it, and he was able to fly wherever he wanted and just do whatever he wanted on her dime. So think about how messed up that is. And guess who signed off on that? Jamie Spears. Guess who he was defending in that article? Jamie Spears. So you see where the alliance adds up, because Kevin was directly benefiting from the conservatorship, allegedly. I want to say allegedly, always. Everything's alleged. So just want to say that. But but yeah, isn't that so messed up? Like, it makes me mad. I'm so glad we're doing this the day after, because yesterday I was like fired up. I was like waiting for people's responses. I was like chatting to my partner Michael about it. I was like, you're never going to believe this. And he doesn't really care. But, for me, he like acts, and we love that.
I care. I got 2 cameras on you, for God's sake.
Shut up. So anyway, moving on. I was going to talk about how Kevin's wife runs her mouth, but like I don't even have words for her right now. She's so irrelevant. She's a former volleyball player. Doesn't work. Kevin doesn't work. They just live off Britney's money. I will say this. I found out today that Kevin's wife and Britney were born on the same day. They're a year apart, but they were born on the same day. She's younger. She looks a lot older, but she's younger. Okay, moving on from that. So I want to go into Sam's response, because everything about it, I think, is so perfect. This is the second time we've really seen Sam step up and defend Britney. So the first time that he defended Britney, it was it was last summer. He called Jamie a dick and was like, he's just not a good guy and all this kind of stuff. He talked to the paparazzi about it. And then I think he also did an Instagram story about it. In the same fashion, he did an Instagram story yesterday. And I'm going to read it to you guys because I want to go over this, but it's the perfect response, typos and all. It's amazing. So Sam says on his Instagram, to clarify, my wife has never posted a nude selfie except of her butt, which is quite modest these days. All other posts were implied nudity, which can be seen in any ad for lotion or soap. There's no validity to a statement regarding the kids distancing themselves, and it is irresponsible to make that statement publicly. The boys are very smart and will be 18 soon to make their own decisions and may eventually realize the tough part was having a father who hasn't worked much in over 15 years as a role model. God, I love it. I love it. Kevin's gravy train will end soon, which probably explains the timing of these hurtful statements. I do not know him personally and have nothing against him aside from him choosing to vilify my wife. His character is revealed by approval of the cruel 13-year sea ship, and his loyalty to Jamie indicates his approval at the time of its conception as well. Things that are now considered normal issues and behavior easily dealt with therapy or other ways were magnified to justify a 13-year prison sentence. Anyone approving of it is wrong or benefiting from it somehow. I will not comment on this again, except to say I have a job. I love when Sam comes out swinging in Britney's defense. I don't think we've seen a figure who has really come out that is still close in her circle that she's aware of, that has come out swinging in her defense. I love that it's her husband. I think another sad thing about this entire thing is that you realize that Britney really does not have anyone. She's got her husband. And up until a point, she had her assistant, Vicky, but I'm seeing things online that, they're not working together anymore, which is super sad. So it's just nice to know that she has someone in her corner. This has always been a Sam Asghari stan account. Love Sam. I think he's a great guy. So all the Sam naysayers, I hope this puts it to bed. Sam went on to say, I wish him the best and hope he has a more positive outlook in the future for benefit of all involved. But for now, and to quote Will Smith, keep my wife's name out of your mouth. What a power move. What a power move. So, Sam honestly is very protective of Britney. We've seen that over the years. And I really value the fact that she has someone in her corner that's immediately next to her, because we all know that she's very sensitive. And right now she's incredibly fragile. She hasn't had a lot of people to trust. So the fact that he can be there for her and step in and be the strength that she needs, I think is so imperative right now to her finding out this new chapter of her life, whatever that is. I also want to talk about Britney's Instagram for a second, because earlier I was talking about the nudity part. I think that Britney uses her Instagram to express herself. She always has. And her posting the nude photos is her taking the power back. She was told no for so long. She was told what she could, what she couldn't do, what she could eat, what she could spend. Even if she needed a Tylenol, she had to ask for permission, which is, so messed up. So I think that what we're going to be seeing and what we have seen is a woman taking the power back. Whatever that looks like for her, however it looks like for her, she's going to do it. So the topless photos on the beach, the nude photos, the memes, the dance videos, all of it. It's all parts of her imagination and her mind, and her really kind of regaining that autonomy that she's lost. I have always been so supportive of her and of her creative mind and what she wants to do with her life. I hope she continues it. I have a feeling that she might stop the, quote unquote nude things for a minute just because of the quotes that have been made. But I do want to get into Britney's response, because I was waiting after Sam responded. She posted her first response to her Instagram story. So we're going to read that really quick. And what she said: it saddens me to hear that my ex-husband has decided to discuss the relationship between me and my children. As we all know, raising teenage boys is never easy for anyone. It concerns me the fact that the reason is based on my Instagram. It was long before Instagram. I gave them everything. Only one word, hurtful. I'll say it. My mother told me you should give them to your dad. I'm sharing this because I can. Have a good day, folks. And that's what Britney had to say about it. And then I will say that Kevin's son, Caleb, from his relationship with Shar Jackson, took that post and then put the face palm emoji over it on his Instagram story. So don't know what Caleb's deal is, but like, just craziness everywhere. I think from all of this, you realize that like Britney's never had a fair shake at anything when it comes to family. Every single person in her family, immediate, extended, has always wanted something from her. At the end of the day, it's always money. And that's really unfortunate and sad to watch because you think at least, someone in her immediate family would be there to support her and not just her husband. So, but I do think that the silver lining is that she's going to be stronger from this. She's going to really come out from the other side of this. And, she's going to, of course, going to be more guarded. But my hope for her and my wish for her is that this doesn't knock her down and that she just keeps going because people want to see her succeed. People want to see her do well. And more importantly, like people just want to see her happy and healthy. So myself included. I think that's everything. I feel like that's really kind of what's going on. That's my opinion. I think that Kevin Federline, like no one was ever looking for Kevin Federline to be the moral compass of everything. This is exactly what I would expect from someone like him. He hasn't worked in 15 years. And in 2 years, he's going to have to get a job. I mean, even in the court filings for child support, he said he was making $3,000 a month from DJing. So like, dude, clock into your local Kmart. Go work. Victoria Prince, go work. Like, it seems like no one wants to work these days.
It seems like nobody wants to work these days.
I think we've beaten a dead horse. Like Kevin Federline is trash. End of story. Cool. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in. I appreciate it. If you haven't, please hit that subscribe button, like whatever's the closest to you. Please hit it, and we'll see you next time. Bye.